Hi everybody, it's Joe and I want to tell you a story. Yesterday, early morning, I'm sitting at my desk working when I hear all hell break loose in my backyard. The first thing I hear is this blood curdling scream, followed by my dog Charlie losing its mind, barking and yipping. Um, I immediately assumed that Charlie had gotten into some sort of trouble, so I ran to the backyard. Um, what I found was that Charlie had managed to corner this squirrel or chase this squirrel into our deer fencing, and the squirrel in his panic had become horribly wrapped up in the wire of the fence. Charlie was yipping and yapping. The squirrel was making scream. I've never heard squirrel scream, excuse me. I bet most of you haven't either, but I will tell you it's horrifying. But anyway, back to the story. My first thought was I have to save the squirrel. So I grabbed Charlie, who was not happy with the idea, by the way, and was able to get her into the house. I then grabbed a pair of wire cutters and an old bath mat and went to the backyard with the hopes of saving the squirrel. My idea was I would take this bath mat and throw it over the squirrel's face, and that would allow me the opportunity to cut the squirrel away. And that's exactly what I did. Now I should back up and just tell you, all this time the squirrel is absolutely losing its mind. It's screaming, it's chattering, and it's flailing. It just won't stop. It's just going crazy. Even after I threw the bath mat over the squirrel. So, despite that, I was able to get in and make the first cut on the fence. And I backed away quickly because my assumption was that the squirrel may have been able to get away from that point. However, I was wrong. The squirrel was still stuck in the fence. Now, I wanted to be careful at this point because I didn't want the squirrel to end up with this fence around its neck and for the rest of its life. So I wanted to be careful. So I kind of got down at the squirrel's level and actually put my ear on the cement. And the first thing that happens is I made immediately eye contact with the squirrel. And we stared each other down. It was just looking at me. Now, I assumed that we were making some sort of connection. I kind of cooed at the squirrel, it's going to be okay. Mr. Joe is here. I'm going to help you. And so, yes, we'll get back to that. So, I was able to determine this is the best next step. This might work. It might cut the squirrel free, so I'm going in. So I made sure the rug was covering the squirrel's face, who started flailing again as my hand approached it. And I was able to make that second snip. Now, what happened next is a bit of a blur, but the end result was that I felt a very, very sharp pain on my hand, and my first thought was, ow, I'm stabbing myself with these pieces of the fence that the squirrel is bent against me in favor of trying to get out of its hole. So I pulled my hand away, and when I did that, I was shocked to discover that the squirrel was still attached to my hand, and I thought, well, that can't be right. Why is... And then it hit me. It was biting me. And not only that, the squirrel had no interest in letting go of me, despite the fact it was completely free. It had a grudge, and it was against me because Charlie was walking the house, so I was the fall guy, even though I was trying to save the squirrel. And so the squirrel was biting into my hand, and simply would not let go. This is the result that, can you see that? This is the result of my heartfelt effort to save that damn squirrel. All those videos that we all see online of the guy that saves the squirrel or the bird or, you know, whatever it is from certain death, and then the squirrel like becomes the buddy of the guy and they watch TV together after that, and the guy hand feeds him, you know, peanuts, and, you know, they're just like this. That's all bullshit. I was perfectly nice to that squirrel, and what did I get for it? So if this squirrel's watching, and I'm sure it's not, but I just want you to know, I'm looking out for you, and I'm coming for you. This isn't over.